let's go ahead and jump right into it. I don't want to take a lot of time. We are extremely excited about what's going on. James and I over the weekend did a video. If you haven't seen that, maybe Lisa or somebody could put the link to the Saturday video that we put in. We're actually working on right now. James is going to make it so that the ladies can do a step-by-step process of screenshots, because everyone lives differently, or learns differently. Everyone, like I used to be I had to read it, learn person. Now I can watch something and learn it way easier. I used to listen to videotapes and audio tapes. If you're not old enough to know what a cassette tape is, I do it over and over and over and over and over. So what I would encourage you to do is, guys, you're going to want to become experts on this pricing model. And so James is going to kind of come on real quickly. We're going to go do it again, and try to kind of walk through it for you guys and show you a little bit of how it's all going to work. But I won't steal James's thunder. I'll let him do the big announcement for it. So go, James. Are you available? You can undo and
Yes. Can
share.
everyone hear me okay?
Yep.
All right, great. Yeah, so we are in preparation to launch probably one of our biggest updates in the REVO platform.
Oh,
It's
it's not probably. It's the biggest.
yeah. Yeah, and this is all around having control around pricing. And drivers will be able to really dictate within parameters of we set of how their market needs to be set from a pricing perspective. And so when can cannot hear you. Can you
I
s
think they can. I can hear you fine,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
sure.
Alright.
Maybe on their side at this point.
So, this update has been approved by both Google and, Apple. It is pending to be distributed to the app stores, so we need to do a lot of changes on the back end in terms of the infrastructure, so that will be done, this evening at an off hour, and that will allow everybody to get their notification tomorrow to download the new update. And you'll be prompted to update the app both on the driver side as well as all our clients and writers would need to do an update as well, since this is a pretty significant update from both sides of the coin.
So what
So
James is saying is it's ready to go. The updates have been approved and everything through Apple and Android. He's going to do some work on the back end of it tonight to make sure everything is tested, linked up, going right. Then tomorrow morning when you wake up, you should be prompted to update your app as a driver or customer, or both if you have both, and then let the games begin.
yeah,
So let's just kind of start from the beginning. When they have the app, where will they go? Well, let's not get into that. So there'll
yeah, yeah.
be some
I'm just gonna
pricing
go.
that's already in there. There'll be
Yeah,
pricing
focus.
that's already loaded,
Yep.
that if you want to leave it at that, you're more than welcome to. It is going to be an average of all of our cities taken together, and then we put the base rate in there, but you're welcome to go in and change that. So let's go ahead and you start out, James.
Yeah. So on the driver side, on the right side here, uh, since I already acknowledged the notification, you'll also receive a notification to be reminded to update your driver rate pricing. So just a friendly message. It's not gonna um, hold you down in terms of navigating in the app, but it's just more of a notification that will pop up and prompt you go to the driver rate pricing right here. So you'll go under the menu and then under your reservations queue, which you're all familiar with in terms of, of accepting your reservations, it's the driver rate pricing. And so, like Paul said, you'll get your default settings set automatically. But again, this is where you have full control around how you want to set your base prices, your minimum price, your per minute price, per mile price, and it's just a simple just moving this a little over to the right or to the left. And it's also going to adjust based on your parameters. If you want to do some analysis on what you would typically get in a 10-mile ride, let's say, and you know that 10 miles is going to take you 15 minutes. So then you can, or 15 minutes. Then what you can do is just move these levers here, and you'll see how that expected earnings will be set for those types of prices. So if you want to increase the per minute, you can see how.
And once again, James, it's going to be based on actual real time, like waiting time, mileage time.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
not
this
going
is
to, this
estimated.
isn't estimated. And
Yeah.
that's what we need people to understand. This is not set in stone, but this will give you an idea of what your earnings are going to be. But you don't want to base everything based on your earnings. You want to base it based on what you're going to make compared to, or it is your earnings, but you also want to base it. What you're doing is trying to undercut and beat the competition, not by a lot. Like I would tell you not to go and try to be crazy and like floor it out, ceiling it or floor it so that you're, oh my God, I'm 50, 60% less than what they're paying or what they're paying with Uber. You want to be a little bit less. And like I told people over and over and over, selling on just price alone is crazy because we don't need to do that. Like we have so many great things, having the favorite driver, having all the things that go along with that. Selling on price never beats anyone in the long run. I'm just 100%. But if it gets you in the door, that's 100% what we want to give you this opportunity for. So it's estimated earnings, guys, just so you know. It's going to be based on how many miles, how much time, how much, everything in the variables that actually go into it.
Yeah, I mean, what you can do is, I mean, if you've got the Uber app, it's easy to see how these numbers correlate. So if I look at one of their classes, if you click on the little information bar right here, all you have to do is, and you'll see exactly what Uber's charging, right? So at that
Oh, this
time,
is
you could
awesome.
literally correlate what per minute and what your per mile and what their base fare and what their minimum fare is. You're literally mapping out the competition. So you
I
can
didn't
see,
even realize that you had this. Like, this is amazing.
yeah, it's pretty simple to kind of really gauge what your market is. So let's go back into the app.
Can you
So
do one real quickly and just show, like, can you do that exact one on over here?
yeah, I mean, you can just go in here and say, hey, this is what is the minimum
Well,
fare
I'm
here?
saying, like, can you look and see, like, the address, miles, and that kind of stuff and just add it all over here?
Well, yeah, I mean, in this case, I estimated from the airport to Twisted Tuna. So all you have to do is go
Okay.
to test rate, and then I can say, okay, let me see what Uber's charging and what I would potentially make. Again, this
Okay.
view is the customer view. So keep that in
Right.
mind. So you'll get
Right.
obviously 70% of this revenue that's coming
Right.
in. So if I go in and say I want to go to Palm Beach International, that's how I want to be picked up. And I'm going to go to Twisted Tuna. And then what that will do is it will actually give you an estimate based on what your price that you set in the setup rate. This is what you're going to be expected to earn. You can see that's uh,
Low. So
low,
you
but
can go in and adjust it. So you go
absolutely.
over, like, right, if
You
you
go
were to
in
make
here,
70% of 29.80, it would be
base price
$20.86.
per minute, per mile. All this can be adjusted, and you can see how it starts increasing your
And
potential earnings.
as you get used to it, guys, you're gonna have this where you kind of understand quickly. You're gonna get it in your head. You're gonna, oh, I need to charge this or I need to do that. And like I said, I wouldn't be changing this 8 times a day. But if there's surge pricing at times, you can go look and see what they would charge. This is gonna give you the playbook. Like this is like giving you when you have football game and somebody knows the playbook for the other team. Like their algorithms will change, their algorithms will jump, but you can show people ours won't. Like this is where we're at, this is what I'm doing, and this is what they do.
I just updated my rate. So now at this point of time, if I get bookings and I accept it, that's the price that it will actually utilize. If I change it after the fact, those past rides won't change because you booked it at the time of your price. So you can fluctuate this based on again your demand, your availability, however way you want to operate your business. You have full control over that because now what the system is doing is reflecting your rates if the rider or the client is choosing you as the driver. So let's take a look at that. So let's say I am the client here. I'm going to the airport. I'm going to Twisted Tuna. Now, this is the key point here. I can opt out as a client. I can opt out of picking a driver. I don't care. I don't know any drivers, but what if I did? I knew a driver that I worked with before. I'm just going to tap in, and what we're going to do is we're going to set up identifiers for drivers so you can easily find them versus typing in their name, location, and so forth. So this is the driver. In this case, this is the Android driver demo I'm doing right here. So I want this person. Notice the difference. It's only one driver. because now you're directly getting the price from that driver that you set within the system. There's
So you're
59
not
cents
having to be, you're not having to go through different classes and all that kind of stuff, like different levels of car. They're going straight to you, so they're not going,
straight to
"Hey, I
you.
want this or
Yeah.
that." Like that's
I
so
mean, the
much
client
better
will
for that
know what
driver.
kind of car class you're in. Wow, I'm getting an SUV. That's the car class that he's associated. And you can see everything maps to exactly what your pricing was set, and it's all set within the pricing here. So I can continue forward. I choose that. Now, the other scenario here is I can see this is where I need to be picked up, but maybe I made a mistake. Now you're able to edit it without having to change everything else. So you can edit your pickup time, you can edit your pickup location. I can even say, no, you know what? I changed my mind. I want to go back to just to see what the public queue is. I can delete this driver. Now I'm going to get everybody's pricing that is not associated to any specific driver. So this is going back to our corporate pricing if I choose to use that versus the specific driver. So you can see how you can go back and forth. No, no, I changed my mind. I'm going to go back and choose that driver, and I'll spend a few extra dollars, and now I can go in and choose that driver. So that's kind of the flow. Obviously, you see the sound notification right away. You will have 5 minutes on a direct booking. You have 5 minutes before that ride gets canceled. So this is a direct booking from the customer to the driver saying, I want to be booked. And you have that option of accepting. You can view the ride. There's the ride. I'm going to go accept it. Now it's in my queue for them to utilize. So that's pretty much the basic flow. I mean, there's a lot of things behind the scenes that happens to make this happen. But again, the goal is to give you control around how pricing occurs. You will never have to come back to us because we'll set those parameters for you to gauge your business.
So let me ask this, James. So somebody did ask a question. This is probably a good time to start answering some questions a little bit on it. So we have a little bit of time. So somebody asked about what about cancellations? They're still going to get charged if they cancel, correct?
Well, on a cancellation on a direct booking or on a cancellation
Yes,
on
on a direct any booking.
cancellation by the driver or cancellation by the
The
rider?
customer.
By
I
the
mean,
customer.
if
Oh,
it
on a
cancels by
customer.
the
Oh, absolutely.
driver, they're going to go back into the queue, correct?
Well, on a direct booking, it will just cancel because the customer
That's true.
don't they're not gonna just say, "Hey, I'm gonna," unless they
Right.
want to opt in. Something that we can look down the
The
road
road.
and see if
Yeah.
that's something that you guys feel is necessary. But if I'm getting a direct booking, let's say Paul's my driver and I requested him and he accepts it, and then for whatever reason he
I have
cancels,
to cancel.
correct.
Right.
Now, when
I'm
a
not going to get
customer
anything
cancels, then
if the
you would
customer
obviously
cancels.
get, yeah, obviously you get a cancellation fee.
They'll chant. It's like $5 if they cancel, correct?
Correct.
And that completely goes to the driver.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But our goal is for no one to cancel, you know. But listen, if you start canceling a lot of rides on a direct booking, you're going to have customers that won't keep coming to you. So don't
Correct.
be doing that.
Yeah, the question was how do you find a Revel driver? Again, you don't have to do a ride. In the past, you had to do a ride before, but now if you know that person's first name or where they're located, I mean, we're gonna have some specific identifiers for the driver, so you don't necessarily have to type in their name. We're gonna give them an associated
Yeah, we'll give
ID.
them a code. As
Yep,
soon we'll have them like a 4-digit number code or some kind of code that you can give that to a customer when they go to look for you. But can you go back into it, James, just for a second and show people so that they can show their customers? Like we'll have videos and stuff out on it very shortly and some, screenshot training. But can you go back into it real quickly and just show how a customer would look for that again one
yeah,
more
yeah,
time?
absolutely. Yeah. So
So here's the deal, too. I'll just talk about this while James is doing this. Right now, there's not going to be, and listen, we're going to be able to, going forward, we're trying to get everybody approved in different cities and make sure everything's right. We haven't been doing it up until now. We got the background, we have been doing background checks, but we're now doing it on a larger scale because we want to be able to go back. If you've got drivers in different cities, now they can become one driver in one city. Now, they're not going to have backup drivers, but as time goes on, that's how you start building this business. you get as many customers as you can. Like I know with Mark and Erica in Kansas City, they do enough rides. I know that they have spillover. Now, in the beginning, they probably could handle every ride themselves. But guess what? If you can go to drivers and go, man, I got so many rides going on myself, I can't handle them all. Like I need another driver to come on and start taking some of the excess rides. Then what you do is and I'm going to teach you guys this. If you're coming to our training here in the end of the beginning of February 1st and 2nd, we'll have a special. James is actually providing the venue for us for our meet and greet on Friday night, which is going to be amazing. I'm not even going to tell you much about it until we get there. But what we're going to teach you is how to get somebody to go out and do 10 rides in their first 5 days. 10 days, 10, maybe 10 rides. We'll call it 10 and 10 or 5 and 5, whatever. But the goal is to get those drivers to come over and go, hey, I got so many rides, I can't handle them all. I need someone else. Because then you're not just getting them in and hoping they do rides. But if you can get someone in a city where there's no other, James and I talked about this morning. There's cities where there is no Uber, there's no Lyft, there's small towns. You could get a driver who wants to start their own little driving service utilizing our system, and they can be up and running in 48 hours. And we are working to make sure we get everyone up and running. But you're going to be responsible for helping us train those people. You can't just throw them into the system and get good luck. You need to make sure they watch the videos. I'm working on a training program so that whenever a driver says, yes, I want to be a driver, they've got to go through these steps. They've got to watch these videos. They've got to answer these questions. We've done it with other programs, and not so that they pass or fail, but so that we can be sure that they get the correct information. Because a lot of times we just throw people into a system and we hope they figure it out so we don't have to. We are going to be working with, modules like with our ERC program. Somebody said they signed up 16 riders yesterday. So that's awesome. Stephen Parnell. Like, these are great things. So if you could go through that one more time. So go
Yeah,
back to the beginning.
there's always little things that we can improve, but in terms of just locating your driver, this is a free text search. If I had somebody's name specifically, you just type in their first few letters and it'll
Can you
just
go back
pull.
one step more? Like, can you just start from the beginning? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
if
yeah,
I was
absolutely.
going in to book a ride,
Yeah, just booking a ride. You go in and specify, your pickup
where
and
you're
drop off
going.
location, and then immediately is your second choice. You have either
Okay.
ability to search a driver, or I want to just skip because I don't care, and maybe I'm going to label this a little bit better than skip. Um, I don't
Skip
care,
choosing
or
driver.
yeah.
I don't care.
So
That'd be funny if we put in I don't
here
care.
you choose if you've ridden, if you had them before, you can just tap into your favorite drivers and you'll see your list here as well. So another option I'm thinking of, again, down the road, maybe I can go in and say, hey, I found a person I want to locate. Maybe Alex is the one. Maybe I should put a little favorite guy here, and then it'll just go to my favorite list. So there's a lot of little things that we can keep improving on. But for now, if I ride with Alex, I can go back to my list and add him to my favorite list because I've already did a ride with him. So we had that capability before. But in
Right.
this terms, if I'm trying to do a booking and I'm going to Phoenix and I want Alex to be aware of it, I can go and start booking a ride right away. So he will get a notification. He would need to see all the parameters to make sure he's available. And that's where the driver has the ability to accept or not accept the ride. So this is
But I will tell
all
you this,
driven
you
off of that.
guys, you cannot, like, you can do whatever you want because you're an independent contractor. But if you do not take rides, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. If somebody is needing a ride and they want to utilize you the first time and you're like, oh, I can't do it. Like, I would move around. I've left dinners when we used to own our delivery business. I promise you, I would leave whatever I'm doing to make sure that I got that ride, because if I can build that business now, whatever I'm doing right now, unless it's life or death, emergency, family, sickness, something going really crazy, like, being an entrepreneur means you sacrifice. And I know that sometimes people don't understand that, but you got to be able to learn to sacrifice now. I was taught a long time ago, do what now, what no one else will do, so you can do later what no one else can do, which means I'm going to sacrifice, give up my time, build everything now. So later on, I can go, hey, you know what? I don't have to drive as much. I've got 5,000 drivers out there around the world that I make 3% off of every drive. I've got 20,000 customers that I make a 3% off of. And then when we add in the extra bonuses, like, this, guys, is what we've been talking about. And I know that sometimes people don't believe it. They don't understand it. They don't have the faith. And that's okay with me. But I promise you, over time, we are getting there, and it's finally starting to go. Will you require passengers to watch training so they know how to use the app? I mean, I don't know that we'll require them to watch it, but we will make it obvious. And James and I are going to probably do another video like we used to have. So when they open the app for the first time, it will tell them some of these things. New guy here, can you cover the referral compensation for an indirect referral? But on your videos, yeah. So we've got to. I got to go get rid of some of those videos. We made some changes. Um, so we pay the drivers 70% direct. There are videos up that kind of reflect these new things. 70% of every fare that goes out, the driver gets. Now, 3%, if you bring in a driver, every time they do a ride, you're going to get 3% off of that fare. So if it's $100 fare, you get $3. You can do that way. On a customer, any direct customer or any direct driver that you bring in, every time they do a ride, you get 3% of that fare. That's where we're at right now. It's only the first level. We haven't done the indirect yet. That will be coming in the next 30 to 60 days. But we have to do things in a priority list. And so this was a huge priority for us. We're working on all kinds of different things, but I promise you, these things are all in the list. So you get 3% right now on any direct referral, and then more things are coming. Promise.
Hey,
Well,
Paul.
listen, hold on one second. The fare split on top of it right now, if it's a ride up to $80, you get 70%. If it's over $80, you get 80% of that fare. The 3% still stays the same, but we will never go down. It'll go up. So at some point, the company will be working on less money because we'll probably be working on about 10% at some point down the road. But obviously, as a company, we've got to survive and go up. So who was that was just talking?
Lisa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Is James still hanging around?
I'm here.
He left. Of course he's here.
I caught something that you said and it made me very happy. Did you say that the rider can now adjust their pickup location and pickup time?
Yes.
Wow. What
After
about
they
the
book the
drop?
ride. Is that
Right.
right?
No,
Yeah.
no. And before too, before it was a kind of a weird experience. So if I went in here and I'm ready to go, I can review everything just to make sure everything's right. I said, oh, wait a minute. I have the wrong date. Let me go and change the date to tomorrow.
You hit the little pencil and you change it.
And you're done. And you just reconfirm your rate and then you're done.
But
And that will update to the driver.
drop-off location can't be edited just yet.
Well, this is prior to the ride being booked. So if I want to say, no, it's not Twisted Tuna, I want to go into, some other location. I'm just
Okay.
putting some data in there.
But once it's booked, you can't change it. Is that what you're saying?
Well, if it's booked within prior to the 30-minute pickup time, you'll be able to change the location. Correct.
Okay.
So if it's
there's a 30. Go ahead.
So if it's booked 31 minutes before, 40 minutes before, anything over 30 minutes, that you are able to change it.
Correct.
Perfect.
The pickup
Within that
and the
30-minute
drop-off or
window,
just the pickup?
What was the question?
Pick
The
up and
pickup
drop off,
and
or
the
just pick
drop-off
up?
or just the pickup?
Oh, it would be both.
Okay.
The driver
Yay.
would get another alert that pickup
Has
and the
changed.
drop-off location have changed. Correct.
And I
That
know
is
somebody
awesome.
asked if we will be able to add a stop in there. We don't have that yet. That will be an option.
Yeah,
that's coming.
we're looking at that. That should be pretty straightforward in doing that, but
Yeah.
just don't have that built yet.
But this is just the most important part because we want to be able to open up more people. We want to be able to bring in more revenue because the more revenue that we bring in as a company, the better we can do for you guys. Like this has all been predicated on my funding, which is okay. Like I'm happy with it. But now it's time for us to be able to go global. We want to be able to go into different. This is going to make it so that we can go faster into countries, faster into cities, faster into states, and we're being able to open it up for individuals. And I'll tell you, these other companies, they don't care about individuals. Like I want it to be like when Tony and I owned our delivery company, we focused on smaller cities. It's like we built a 300 city business doing 300 cities, 30 million a year in delivery. And we did it on small cities and we did it on small, like we didn't have to go out and get 10,000 rides, but we still ended up doing millions and millions of rides. So guys, this is all about us building this thing together. But what I need you to understand once again, before we jump off here in a minute, is nothing comes without problems. It's like the people that work with me directly and have been around a while, they understand that I have a different philosophy than others. I believe you just pull the Band-Aid off, shove it out there. You get it the best you can, but you're never going to be 100% perfect. I have another group that, we've been waiting on things for probably 4 or 5 months, and I don't want to wait. Like, I know there's going to be problems. I know there's going to be things that aren't right. So we need to just go forward and then fix it. And I know it sounds like sometimes you got to fix a car going 90 miles an hour, and that's not fun for James. But James has become adept over the years at going, okay, now we understand it. And if you guys understand, like in the first 30 to 60 days, there's going to be issues. There's going to be things we didn't foresee, but you're never going to foresee it until it live. You can do it in a testing environment for 6 months and then put it live. And there's still going to be things you don't know, you don't understand, and you don't see. So, let me see about what other people. What about Zooks or advertising? I'm not sure. I don't listen. Some of you worry about competition. Some of you worry about other companies. I don't. I worry about what we're doing. I stay focused on what we're doing, because if I just become reactive to what everything Uber does, everything whoever the Zooks is, and all these other companies that come along, we're never going to stay focused on what we're doing. We become reactionary instead of proactive, and we're not proactive. So we don't have that. Darius, I think I already answered that question on the stops. Will this be posted? Actually, absolutely. I've come 3 community newsletters, and I could place in my newsletters. Absolutely. Like, if you want, get with the person that invites you in. If they don't understand how to show you what to do, everything, please go to support@revoride.com. You can ask Lisa and Evelyn. I'm getting way more involved. I want to start doing calls directly with drivers every single day, at least 2 to 3, 4, 5 times a day on top of whatever else I'm doing. But before we end, I want to explain to you how important it is for some of you to make sure that all of you that can, we have a limited space. There's 100 people, but I don't care if there's 5 people or 100. We are going to do a full-on 2-day training, 10 to 5 on Saturday, February 1st, and 10 to 3 on Sunday, February 2nd. Friday night, James has supplied a place for us to have a great time for a few hours of a meet and greet, get to know people. But we're going to do this at the Twisted Tuna in Jupiter, Florida. Lisa, if you can put the link on how people can sign up. Right now, you don't have to pay the whole thing. It's $125 if you want to attend, or if you want to have lunch for both days, it's just an additional $25. So a total of $150. You'll have to get your room and board, but I know a lot of people will room with each other, find common ground and people to understand. But what I will tell you is every time we do one of these trainings, the people that go to those trainings have a bump in their business. They invest in themselves. You can usually think as a write-off, whatever. And it's not about the money, because I promise you, at 100 people, at 125, we won't begin to cover the cost. I've got to fly people in. I've got to have all of our equipment, my sound people, everything that goes along with putting something on like this. But the reason why I'm willing to lose money doing things like this is because I know exactly what happens afterward. I know some of you that are going to step outside of your comfort zone. You're going to be here with us. You're going to be able to meet James in person. You're going to be able to go, hey, I don't understand this. Let's show this. We'll have a couple of hours where James will teach you how to use this thing the most effectively. We're going to go out in the public while you're here. Some of you are going to walk away with 15, 20, 30 drivers in this area. And on top of that, customers. Arthur Mongo and his team of people down here have really taken this on as a labor of love. And, they started building it. And I will tell you, in the beginning, I ended up opening West Palm with them. Some things didn't go perfect. We put it on pause. But these guys have come back so strong, so excited. And someone like Arthur just really impresses me. And I'm not saying this to, put his business out in the world, but he's on dialysis. He does dialysis on a daily basis. He was one of the first ones that signed up for this training. So as somebody that's on dialysis, building a business, driving for the other services, he's very involved in his church and his religion and his faith. And then on top of that, last week, I needed someone to do a ride for Revo. I didn't expect him to do what he did, and he didn't tell me while he was doing it. But he cut and I'm about to get emotional a little bit, but he cut his dialysis appointment short to make sure one of our customers was taken care of. And I did not ask him to do that. I told him never to do that again, first of all. But just the way he did it, like he cares about this. And that's the same thing with Jeff Trills and Mark and Erica and Mario and the guys out in Vegas. I'm not going to go through them all, but I know Isaac and Daniel and Darius and, Adonis. And I just don't want to leave anyone out. But guys, this is just now is our time in 2025. So I would encourage you, Lisa, can you please put that? I don't know if you put a link in there. Yep, there you go. Maybe you didn't.
I did.
There it is. She did. All right. So the link is in there. I'm going to go get this recording put up. We are not today. We were going to have on Mondays do a 2 o'clock and a 3 o'clock overview. We are moving those to tomorrow. Lisa, can you make sure that you've posted that everywhere and sent out email?
Yep, it's been done.
All right, cool. Look at this. Like, we're actually starting to act like a group of people that does things.
Don't jinx it. Look at the text that I sent you. See if you want to do that.
I don't want to look at your text. Hold on. No, so we'll talk about what we're going to do at the training. I'm not going to talk about any more with that stuff until we get to the training. That'll be a special thing for those there. So,
Awesome.
guys, it's time for us to do this. And so tomorrow morning, wake up, but also understand if something goes wrong, don't freak out. If something isn't working perfectly, like, don't come up to us and go, oh my gosh, my app's not working. Well, maybe you haven't done the download. Maybe you haven't updated your app. Like, there's things that can happen, but when something goes wrong, don't be the first one that just goes, oh my God, the sky is falling. Be the one that goes, hey, let's figure this out. Because I promise you, if you have a problem, somebody else is going to have a problem. When things go wrong, I don't get to just throw my hands up in the air and freak out. And neither does James, neither does Lisa, neither does Evelyn, neither does Jeannie, neither does Pedro. We have to go into a mode of going, hey, yes, there's an issue. We're not going to ignore it, but we're going to find a way around it, through it, or over it. So this has been a long time coming. We're so excited about it. This is going to give us a way to really impact more people. And then we can start working on all the other things that we have coming for you. So James, do you have anything else you want to add? Nope, he doesn't.
Sorry. Yeah, no, I'm good. Thank you.
Awesome. No, listen, I want you to publicly know how I appreciate how much time. Nobody else really probably understands what James has done to get this done. And he's one of those people that, like, I've never met somebody that's in a development community and a programmer that honestly cares as much about making this stuff right for you guys as James does, with as little compensation. Like, most people would have charged well over what he's charged to do things like this, but he understands the long-term vision. From the day that I met him sitting in a restaurant, I knew that he was going to be somebody that I did business with for life, just because, we have our ups and downs and back and forth, but, like, he has been such a solid part of what we're doing, along with Evelyn. And I always want to give people the credit they're due. Evelyn and Lisa, and I mean, Evelyn was on vacation last week and still working, even though we all told her to get out. She wouldn't stop. And Jeannie as well. These guys are doing stuff all the way up until midnight sometimes on the weekends that you don't even understand. They're not getting paid for it. They're building this because they want to build something together. And I know a lot of you are the same way, and you've been so understand. Like Kim out in Vegas has come on to help us with making sure our rides are correct in the, and outside of her having an Android and not an Apple phone, I mean, she's been amazing at what she's doing already. That's just a joke. So I'm excited for our Monday. We're about halfway through the month. Let's make sure that this is our biggest month ever, which we're on track to do, and keep talking to people, guys. We'll have a video up. We'll have our things tomorrow. And then tomorrow night, we'll be doing some more live training. And I'm excited for you guys to be a part of it. Have a great day.